So whether you are new to learning languages or not, it is important to understand that building a habit for your language studies is the most important thing that you will ever do for your language studies. And creating a habit and building consistency and maintaining it is all about creating a sustainable routine, something that you can do when life gets in the way, when your energy is low, when you're tired. There is a baseline that you can still maintain even during all of those times that will help you to make some progress. These are systems that you put in place that are reliable for you and personalized to your needs. Now, how do we do that? We got to get clarity first.
So in this video, we're going to talk about how to get clarity in your language studies so you can start making more progress. Let's go.
Clarity, clarity, clarity. You're going to hear me say this a million different times in a million different ways. Clarity is so important before you actually create your study plan. Because if you don't have clarity, then you have no idea what you're trying to strive for. And the plan that you create is going to be setting you up for failure. And you'll hear me say this a lot. Failure is not something that we need to be afraid of. But when there are ways to prevent yourself from experiencing some mistakes that are easily avoidable, clarity is the thing that every language learner should focus on first, whether you are just deciding to learn a language today or you have been learning languages for years. Either way, start here and then go to the next stage. I'm going to show you exactly what to do to get this clarity. Let's start. So before we get started, I actually want you to grab a sheet of paper or your iPad, whatever it is that you take notes on, and then we're going to be working through this together because this is an actionable video, not just a sit and listen video. So get that and come right back. All right. So the very first thing that I want to share with you is this quote that I share with every single person that I work with. Whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you are right. If you don't believe that you can learn languages, if you don't believe that you can achieve the thing that you want to achieve, then you're right. And it's never going to happen for you. But if you do believe that it's possible for you and you just don't know how to get there, then you're also right. And we can get you there. So the first thing is defining what fluency means to you and what you feel you can actually achieve. You need to know, what is this end thing that I want to achieve? And most people would say fluency in some way. But if you ask one person what fluency means and another person what fluency means, you're going to get different definitions. So you need to know what it means for you first in order to set that as your guideline. So when you hear the word fluency, what does this mean to you? Brain dump it on paper. Do not worry about editing your ideas or saying, is this okay? Is this good enough? Maybe I need, no, write it all down. Every single idea that you're having that's popping up in your mind. And I would even say, set a timer for 30 seconds, do this exercise, and then let it go. So once you have a picture of what fluency means to you, the next step is this. The next step is clarifying your vision for your language studies. So what do you want to do using the languages that you're learning? How do you expect to use it? What are the kinds of things you want to be able to do in the language that you're learning? Are you someone who wants to speak with your family? Are you moving to another country? Do you like to watch dramas, anime, movies, TV shows in the language? Are you someone who likes to read lots of things? What is the thing that you like to do? Do you like to play video games in other languages? Yes, I do like to play video games in other languages. If that is you, figure out what that vision is and how you expect to use the language at the end goal. Then the third thing I want you to do right now is to reflect on your current reality. Where are your skills right now? If you are a super beginner, like you haven't even started, well, there's a lot that you don't know in the language, but you might have been exposed to the language in some form. Like, for example, here in the US, we get exposed to a lot of different languages like Spanish and French. So there might be some words that you know, some things that you know and don't realize it's a part of the language. But what are you currently working with? Maybe you've studied this language before in school, on your own, and you're at a restudy stage. You're restarting the language and you might have a lot of gaps that you need to fill in before you feel you're ready to move on. What are you working with right now? What are you able to do or not able to do in comparison to where you want to be? So where's your point A right now? And then where do you want to be point B are the things that we need to figure out. And I call this your reality check because sometimes we don't pay attention to where we are right now until we dive into the language studies and use the resource. And then we're like, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought. And maybe I'm not, maybe I can't. And all those second guesses and doubt starts to come through. So we're nipping it in the bud right now. So write it down. And then the final step I want you to do is what I like to call simplifying the process. So now you know where your point A is, you know where your point B is. You need to figure out what's going to close the gap. What are the specific steps I need to take in order to get from where I am now to where I want to be? So this is things like, what are the skills I need to develop? What is the specific themes of vocabulary that I want to be able to learn and use? What are the grammar points that I need to be able to use confidently? If there's a book, for example, that you want to be able to read, what do I need to be able to do in order to read this without being super frustrated, and so on? Figure that plan out and brainstorm. This is the time to just get all of your vision on the paper, not to edit your vision and decide what is good and what is not good enough. And then once you have all that, you are ready to create your plan. But I want to make sure to mention some mistakes that people tend to make in this clarifying stage so that you don't make those same mistakes like I did and like so many other language learners. So clarity is super important because it helps you to focus on the journey rather than the destination. So many of us are like, I just want to get to the end goal of using the language, that you forget all the amazing progress that you make along the way. So getting clarity allows you to easily see your journey and go, wow, now I'm able to talk about my family. Wow, now I'm able to do X, Y, and Z. And this skill is building and that skill is building. And you get to celebrate those wins, because if you're not celebrating the progress you're making along the way, your journey is going to be really discouraging. And you're going to fall into the trap of constantly comparing yourself to another language learner that you see online. And tell me you're not doing that right now. I know, because I was there too. The next mistake that this clarity helps you to avoid is perfectionism. I am a perfectionist. I tend to want things to be perfect. But even in this video, as I'm recording it right now, my vision is not perfection, but just to get it done and to try. And we can always revise next time. So when you're creating your study plan, you want to try and test things out, because you're never going to know what things are feeling like, looking like in reality until you actually do the thing. But get clarity first, then do the thing, and then analyze and reflect on what's working and what's not working. And that's going to be a whole separate video on analyzing and reflecting on your progress. Now, I said this already, and I'm going to say this again: comparing yourself to other language learners or seeking external validation. A lot of times as language learners, when we don't have the clarity and confidence in what we're trying to achieve on our own, sometimes it's because the vision we have for our language studies is heavily inspired or adapted from someone else's plan, schedule, routine, vision, but we don't actually want to achieve those same things. We just don't know how to articulate that for ourselves. And so you fall into this trap of looking at someone else's progress and going, man, they've been studying for a shorter amount of time, but they're making more progress than me, and not taking into account all the other pieces that make up what you can and cannot accomplish right now. The time you have available, for example, the experience you have learning languages and the experiences you've had learning in general, the resources you're using, access to resources, access to people who are helping you and supporting you, a community to keep you accountable and to get your questions answered, like all these different pieces. You might have a different experience with that. You might not have the same level of all these different areas as someone else. For example, the community that I talk with on TikTok, there's a lot of people there that see someone studying for 6+ hours and either assume that they have to study for 6+ hours, so they feel discouraged, or they don't have the time, they don't put in that 6+ hours, and then they feel like they're a failure as a learner. When in reality, you don't have those 6 hours. You have a full-time job, you have a family, whatever it might be, you're in college and you're busy, and you don't have that same amount of time. So you have to take that into account and give yourself grace, because you're doing what you can with what you have. And that is good. Not good enough is good. So as I said, this is an actionable video. So what I want you to do is rewatch this video, go through the steps, those 4 different steps. So redefine fluency for yourself, clarify your study vision, get a reality check, and then simplify your process so that you can then watch the next video, which is going to be linked here, all about creating a plan that works for you as a language learner. I hope that this helps, and I will see you in the next video.